Q&A session. Who doesn't like a good one? We sent out a post on my LinkedIn one day, and we said, you know what? I need some fucking answers. And we said, okay, great. Let's provide them. So we got lots and lots of questions. Funny thing is, I asked everybody to put them in the comments section, and some people did. Thank you, Matthew Meehan. Others sent them to me my DMs, which I sifted through and found them all. And I picked out the general themes, and I got 6 or 7 questions that I want to hit answers for. My name is Scott Peper. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mobilization Funding. For the last 11 years, we've been solving cash flow problems for commercial contractors and other businesses that work in progress payments, milestone payments, or overall just work in progress. And yes, we do lend to those businesses, and we have helped them tremendously over the years. And in return, we've learned a ton. So I'm happy to share some of that information with you right now. So the first question that came to us: how do I incorporate cash flow considerations into my business decisions for growth? Great question. Cash flow and growth, they really go hand in hand. So the first thing to understand about cash flow and growth is, in order to grow, you're going to take on more business. The more you grow, the more cash you're going to need in order to make that work. Why is that? Well, if you're used to doing 2 or 3 projects at a time, and you get some extra cash on hand, and you start to build that business muscle, and your business cash is flowing in and out of the business, you're paying your suppliers, you're paying your labor, you're invoicing your customer, you're receiving money. That cash flow cycle has a certain hum to it. Every time you get paid, you make a little bit more profit and you keep moving on. No problem. Well, what if now all of a sudden, instead of doing 2 or 3 projects at a time, you're doing 3 or 4? As you're growing and you do that extra 4th project or that extra 3rd project, it's going to pull a little more cash out. As we all know, we don't do the work today and we don't get paid today. That's not how it works. You do the work today and you might get paid 30, 60 days later. Well, the cash that you need over the 30 or 60 day period makes a huge impact as you grow. So growth and cash flow go hand in hand, particularly in construction businesses and particularly in businesses that are work in progress, milestone billing, like manufacturing, fabrication, or other. So those are the 2 key differences, 2 key things that really make an impact on that. Second question is, how to not let negative cash flow get in the way of business growth? Great question. And the easiest example I give is, companies like Tesla, for example, or other public companies where you're out there and you're like, how is this company not even profitable, but yet they're growing and growing and growing and growing? Easy. Somewhere you have to get cash. That cash can come from debt. It can come from equity raises. It can come from partner investments. Somewhere, somehow, you have to have cash being infused into your business. As you grow dramatically or as you're building your business, oftentimes a lot of your best source of cash is coming from your customers, the products, services that you render, that you invoice for, you deliver on, and they pay you for. However, if you're growing faster than you're actually able to invoice your customers and deliver, you're going to need cash to solve that problem. This is where lines of credit come into place with your traditional banks. Maybe equity investments come in place. You find a partner, you raise capital, you do a Series A, a Series B, a Series C round. Those type of things really are not conducive or part of the construction world. Typically, equity investments are, but not series rounds. You usually see, like a Tesla, for example, they had multiple rounds, then they went public. And so they were raising their capital from the public markets. In order to not let negative cash flow impact your ability to grow, you must find a source of capital that you can borrow from, or you either have yourself. And that could be equity investments that you're putting in from your personal businesses or your personal investments, or you're finding a partner, or you're finding a lender that's helping provide you the capital while you still have negative working capital. Those are the things. There's no other way around it. Somewhere, somehow, you got to get cash. Question number 3, and we get this one a lot. Please tell me the difference between cash flow and profit. And it often comes to us in that format, or it may come from, look, I'm bidding these jobs. I'm adding 10% profit and 10% for overhead and profit. I'm adding general conditions. I'm making money. I know I'm making money. I'm paying taxes and my income statement looks amazing, but I'm broke. What is the difference? Well, it's easy. The difference between cash flow and profit is very simple. You have to understand that when you spend your dollars and then you invoice them, there's that gap, that period of time between when you actually are spending money on certain things and being paid. Before you earn your profit, store your profit away, it becomes tight. It's just hard. Profit is literally the amount of money you make. By definition, it is the amount of money you make after all your expenses are paid. Cash flow is the difference between the amount of money you've received in a certain period of time versus the amount of money you've put out in that same amount of time. And so obviously you can see it's very easy to spend more money while you're growing or investing in something than it is bringing money in. Once you get to a very mature point of your business and you're at a certain size and you're invoicing a certain dollar amount and you maximize your overhead across a bigger business, well, then it's a lot easier for you to manage. And what do I mean by that? Well, we all know when you're starting your business, if you're a few $1 million business, you still may need 10 people, right? You need someone estimating, someone bidding, you need someone invoicing, you need someone running marketing and sales, accounting, etc. But that same $5 million business, when it's a $10 million business, you may not need double the amount of people to do that. You might have scalability at that point. So it's really hard when you're smaller because you need more people. You need more people than you already have because you need certain talent in all those positions. So you may have your cost structure, your general cost structure to run a $5 million business is probably a higher percentage of your overall sales than it would be on a $10 million business, et cetera. And it's certainly different from 2 million to 4 million, et cetera, moving its way up. So you have to understand that that's the major impact between what you're feeling between profit and cash flow. It's as you grow, your profitability as a percentage is going to get higher. It should get higher. You should be able to get more out of your infrastructure. If you can do those jobs where you're able to do the work today, get paid at the end of the day, or as quick as possible, and you shorten your cash flow cycle down to a smaller period of time, you'll start to notice that the amount of money you accumulate in profit and the amount of your cash flow in the same period of time will start to get closer. But if you're doing a lot of work today on a job and spending money today, but it takes about 30 or 60 days to get paid, it's just going to be hard to get caught up on that. So you'll have the profitability there because of the way you're invoicing and recognizing revenue in your financial statements, but you will not have the cash flow. That's the main difference. This is one of my favorite questions, and it's different for everybody, so I'll do my best to answer. But the question is, when does business ever feel normal? So having a business myself, and you hear me laugh because I've never felt normal. Just when I start to feel normal in business, something changes. You get bigger, you grow, or a problem occurs, and it just never feels normal. What's over the last 11 years that I've been in business for myself here at Mobilization Funding, the only thing that feels normal is a good blend mix between good and bad. They're there. There's no such thing as all good and all bad. Sometimes you can focus and things all feel bad, and therefore you just think it's bad. And sometimes you get a couple of days strung together and all is good, and you don't want to be too excited at that point either. It's a good balance between normal is some good, some bad. But I think the general gist of the question was coming from a financial perspective, so I'm going to give you that answer. Good will start to feel better for you and normal for you from a cash flow perspective if you can be extremely disciplined for the course of years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, really. And your business grows at a consistent rate, stays steady, even if you have problems. But if you stay disciplined, don't fight those urges not to pull the cash out and buy something or pull the cash out and invest in something, but you just store that cash up. You hear people talk about build my balance sheet. That's what they're talking about. Let your profitable business generate those profits, keep them in the business. Generate those profits, keep them in the business. Generate those profits, keep them in the business. And sooner or later, after 3 or 4 years, if you do that, your business in year 5, even at the same level, even if it's the same revenue level, 4 or 5 million, whatever your revenue level is, it's going to be a lot easier to financially operate if you use discipline and kept all your profits from the previous 2, 3, 4 years, those retained earnings, keep those in the business. You're going to have cash that allows you to do jobs easier, take on jobs that you couldn't do before, do the jobs you always do, just do them a lot easier because you're not under such stress. You have cash, you have access to that. And then guess what? Just like the old phrase, the rich get richer. Well, those are the points in time where all of a sudden you can now get lines of credit from a bank. You're like, I don't need the line of credit now. Yep, you don't. But it's good to get the line of credit because you might need that line of credit to grow from. So now you stayed disciplined. You kept the same size business. It's a lot easier to operate. And now you want to grow. And now you can go to the bank and get a line of credit to grow, and you can use that line of credit to grow from instead of having to struggle and bootstrap it as much as you did the first 2 or 3 years. So the best advice I can give you to make yourself feel cash flow normal is just look at your business like, I'm going to work for the next 3 or 4 years. I'm going to take as little out as possible. Anything that I don't absolutely need to live on or survive on, I'm going to keep in this business. If I don't have to buy it and I can rent it and it works, perfect. Use your cash to build up your balance sheet, to give yourself the opportunities to have the best course of action for financing opportunities, or just not to have to finance things and run your business the best you can. Keep your debt as limited as possible, particularly long-term debt. If you need some kind of short-term debt that can help you cycle through a project really quickly, that can work. But just be cautious on taking money out and taking more debt in when you can be more disciplined over a longer period of time and keep your retained earnings in. That's how you can make your business feel normal. Well, I hope that Q&A session helped. If you have more questions, please put them in the comments section, or you can DM me too. Doesn't matter. But I'd love to see them in the comment section so we can all comment on them. We have a great network here. Lots of times and very often, questions that are asked to me are answered by people who even have better expertise than me that are in this network and watching those posts. So hope this helped. If it did, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this video with a friend. If this is on LinkedIn and you're seeing it, please share the post, comment, help us out, get the message out. If we had these questions, if someone asked them to us, I'm sure a lot of other people do too. So let people know. Take care, everyone. God bless you.